So there is no reason to own AMD over Nvidia. The only reason why people are bullish on AMD over Nvidia is because they missed Nvidia. Well, I did not say that. This is the opinion of many people on X, because look at this post and see how many likes it got. But in this episode, I will put emotions away and I will reveal the truth, and the only way to speak truth is through numbers, because numbers don't lie. I will show you the financials and future growth for both. Also, I will give you the stock price prediction for each by 2026 and 2027, bull case, base case, and bear case. And trust me, you will be impressed. So let's start. Let's say that you have $1,000 and you want to invest it in one of these companies, only one, either Nvidia or AMD, and you want the highest return in the upcoming 2 years. That means if you invested $1,000, you want it to double or even, let's say, 50% more. So which of these companies that will increase more in stock price? We're gonna test that. So first we're gonna start with who is stronger financially, Nvidia or AMD. We will start first with revenue and then net income and finally stock price prediction. But before I start, I would like to let you know, just because a company has a higher revenue or net income does not automatically mean its stock will be priced higher. Stock prices depend on growth expectations, valuations, and investor sentiment. We saw Apple last year made a whopping $319 billion in revenue and the stock price grew only 28%, while Palantir, on the other hand, made only $3 billion in revenue and grew 412%. That is 5x in only 12 months. So this, you can see the picture that I'm trying to say. But you will ask me now, then why you included revenue and net income in this comparison, since you want to know the price into 1 or 2 years. I did it because it gives an indication that the company is financially stable and generating money. You don't want to invest in a business that's not generating money. We saw many companies that collapsed because they weren't generating money and just hyped. We saw Snapchat, for example, or Lucid or Neo collapsed and never recovered for more than 4 years now because they had negative net income even in their peak years. So you don't want that happening to you when investing in AMD, for example. If investors only opened the net income back then and checked Snapchat or Lucid numbers, they would have avoided that, but they did not. So that's what happened to them. They had a 75% collapse after 2 years. Yes, they had a good ride, but then at the end of the day, they lost all their money. So let's start with the revenue. You can obviously see the winner here is Nvidia. Nvidia made $130 billion in 2025 alone, while AMD made only $30 billion. For net income, Nvidia made $73 billion in 2025, while AMD made only $2.8 billion. For margins, Nvidia's gross margin is 75%, while AMD's gross margin is 50%. Right now, Nvidia is much stronger financially, more revenue, higher profits, better efficiency, and a bigger cash cushion. But AMD is still healthy and growing. They are like the underdog with the smaller shop, slowly gaining loyal customers, while Nvidia is the giant supermarket. But again, these numbers do not mean anything to the future stock price prediction. Now we will predict the stock prices for year 2026 and 2027. Let's start with Nvidia. In a bear case, let's assume that AI demand slows because Google and Amazon stopped buying chips from Nvidia, as they will start manufacturing their own chips soon, which is true, which can hit the revenue, and the competition with AMD, Intel, and new startups like Grox gets fierce. So gross margin decreases because of new competitors entered the market. On that time, US and China export restrictions limit the growth of Nvidia. In this case, by 2026, we will see Nvidia stock price range between $200 to $240, and by 2027, the price will range between $180 to $260. This is the bear case. So let's go for the base case. Let's assume AI demand grows steadily, but not as 2023 and 2024 pace, which was really fast pace. Nvidia keeps dominating the market share by 70 to 80%. Let's assume that, but growth moderate, so margins remain high. So let's say it's going to be the same situation as now. In this case, we will see the stock price in 2026 range between $280 to $340, and by 2027 the price will range between $320 to $420. Now let's move on to the bull case. Let's assume AI adoption accelerates across every industry, including healthcare, finance, manufacturing. Nvidia launches Blackwell Ultra and Rubin GPUs and Omniverse AI Cloud. Software and services revenue start increasing, raising margin further. In this case, we will see the stock price in 2026 range between $400 to $500, and in year 2027, the stock price will range between $600 to $800+. To be honest, I think Nvidia is more likely to fall in the base case with all what's going on in terms of new players entered the game seriously like AMD and Intel maybe in the next 5 years, and also losing some valued customers in the future like Google and Amazon as they will start producing their own chips. Nvidia will still grow, but not crazy growth like what happened in the past 3 to 4 years. Now let's move on to AMD. Let's start with the bear case. Let's assume that AMD is struggling to compete with Nvidia. Also, Intel just entered the market, and let's assume it stabilizes in CPUs production that slows AMD's share gain. Also, margin remains lower than Nvidia. In this case, we will see the stock price in 2026 range between $7 to $110, and by 2027, stock price will range between $60 to $120. Let's go for the base case. Let's assume AMD continues to steal the CPU market share from Intel. Also, the MI300 and MI400 GPUs get adopted by huge companies, but not industry-wide. In this case, we will see AMD stock price in 2026 range between $130 to $180, and by 2027, the stock price will range between $160 to $240. Let's go for the bull case. Let's assume that GPUs have huge demand in the future, and some of the huge companies like Amazon or Microsoft or Google deploy AMD GPUs at a bigger scale. Intel stumbles again, which gives AMD the opportunity again to dominate the CPU market. In this case, in 2026, we will see AMD stock price range between $220 and $320, and by 2027, we will see the stock price range between $300 and $450. Well, to be honest, my prediction is that AMD will fall between the base and bull case. This is because the demand for GPUs will increase in the upcoming years as many companies are shifting towards AI. Also, AMD proved that their GPUs are real competitors to Nvidia's GPUs. Also, I am positive that the MI300 and 400 series will be strong. But which one should you invest for higher return? To be honest, I think AMD has more room for growth as not many companies adopted their GPUs yet, especially the big companies like Google or Amazon. If this happens and one of these companies adopted their GPUs, the market will re-evaluate the company and the stock price can go much higher than where we are today. If you invest in either one, you will be good in the upcoming 2 years. Talking about Amazon, since we mentioned Amazon is the only company in the Magnificent Seven that hasn't increased year to date. That means if you invested $1,000 in January 2025, you wouldn't have gained anything today. Why is Amazon stock lagging behind the Magnificent Seven while some of them are growing double digits? If you want to know why and why Amazon stock price will be where Amazon stock price will be in the upcoming 2 years, watch this video.